Okay, so this week, I wanted to deep dive on something that's been kind of rattling around in my brain.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it's all about how rich people look at money,
Hmm.
you know?
Interesting.
Yeah, so the source material is this YouTube video by Dan Martell, and he calls it What Rich People Do Differently.
I've seen that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you?
Good.
Yeah. I mean, just the title itself kind of like
Yeah.
makes you want to click.
It's a good hook,
Right.
for sure.
So I thought we could take a look and see what we find. So
Yeah, let's do it.
the basic premise that he puts out there is that rich people, they're not just, all about like having money. It's more that they're thinking about how to make that money work for them.
Right.
And so it's all about assets.
Yeah, that's the big thing, right? It's like using your money to buy things that are going to make you more money.
Right. And he, contrasts that with how other, socioeconomic groups,
Hmm.
I guess, approach their money.
Yeah, it's like a whole different mindset.
Yeah.
Like if you're struggling to make ends meet, you're not really thinking about assets. You're thinking about like putting food on the table and paying the rent.
Right. You're thinking about survival.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then there's the middle class, which, most of us probably fall into, and we're thinking about stability, like, getting a mortgage, maybe trying to bump up our credit score so we can,
Get a car loan or...
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But the thing is, like, even though that's considered like good debt, it's still debt and it can keep you kind of stuck in this cycle of owing money.
Yeah.
And what Dan's saying is that rich people, they understand leverage. They use borrowed money, but they use it in a smart way to buy assets that are going to grow faster than the interest they're paying on that loan.
So they're not afraid of debt. It's just they're using it to like kind of supercharge their returns.
Yeah, exactly. It's like they're playing a different game altogether.
Can you kind of like unpack that a little more for
Yeah,
me?
for sure. So like imagine you have three people and they each have $10,000. The first person, they're focused on immediate needs, so they might use that money to cover like basic expenses,
Rent.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The second person, they're trying to build their credit, so they might use that money to pay down debt. The third person, the one thinking like a rich person, they might use that $10,000 as a down payment on an investment property.
Right.
Now they have an asset that could potentially make them money through rent, and it could even go up in value over time.
Yeah. So it's like they all start with the same amount, but the way they think about that money makes all the difference.
Exactly. Mindset is everything.
So when we say assets, are we just talking about real estate or is there more to it?
Oh, no, real estate's a big one, but it's not the only thing. Remember, the key is that these assets are working for you. They're generating income, even when you're not, actively working at a job.
Passive income.
Exactly. So it could be a business that's making a profit, or stocks that pay dividends, or even something like intellectual property, like if you write a book or a song and you get royalties from that.
Yeah. I've always struggled with saving money. I'm more of a spender. But this whole idea of focusing on assets, it's like a whole new way of thinking for me.
Yeah, it's shift in perspective for sure.
But it also feels kind of overwhelming. Like, where do you even begin?
Well, Dan talks about starting small. You don't have to like make these huge drastic changes all at once.
You're right.
Maybe you could take a portion of your savings and put it into like a low-cost index fund, or maybe you have a skill or a hobby that you could turn into a side hustle, something that could eventually generate some passive income.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
There's some practical stuff in there.
Yeah, definitely.
I think the takeaway for me is that even if it's just small steps, we can start to change how we think about money and how we use it.
Absolutely. And remember, this isn't about getting rich quick, It's about understanding the fundamentals of building wealth and applying them strategically.
It's a long game.
Exactly.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with something to think about. What's one thing you could do this week, even if it's small, to start building assets? Maybe do some research on different investment options or think about some side hustle ideas.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, because even a little shift in how we think about money can make a big difference over time.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so that is our deep dive on how rich people view money. Make sure to check out Dan Martell's video, What Rich People Do Differently, to learn more, and we'll catch you on the next one.
See it?